Yo, what's going on YouTube? Jan Moses here back for an impromptu My Team video. I'm currently live on Twitch, twitch.tv/BrothCindy, and my boy Harry reached out to me and asked if he wanted to, or if I wanted to get in Discord with him and talk about the Pyramid of Power agendas. And one thing led to another. Now we decided, why not make this into a content video for you guys? So you have someone in me who has not played any of the Pyramid of Power agendas yet. And then you have Harry, who, while he's not completed all the agendas, at least he's up to the Amethyst. So with that long intro out of the way, Harry, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good. It's great to be back in the podcast. Hopefully with better quality on the mic. I think we've updated the mic a little bit, or
Yeah,
upgraded the mic quality a little bit. If only the people knew this idea literally came like 2 minutes ago to
I
make
know.
this podcast. But it's good to be back. I'm excited to talk about the new content on NBA 2K24 MyTeam.
Yeah, and also speaking towards the whole point about the mic, one really good thing about you testing out the mic in this format is that we'll be able to see if the mic, if the audio quality is too loud, then we can
Yeah.
figure out ways to adjust it for our larger scale pods versus this, which should probably just be a 10 to 15-minute video about the Pyramid of Power, which, speaking of that, how about that for a segue? Harry,
There you
you've
go.
engaged in the agendas for the Pyramid of Power, and I talked about it a little bit in the video that I uploaded yesterday, I believe, or maybe it came out this morning, I don't really remember, on us having to buy in and pay for the Sapphire cards. Now, in yesterday's video, I said that I thought the cards would each be 16,500. They each ended up being a hair under 21,000. Is that correct, Harry?
Yeah, around there.
Yeah, I want to say 21,000. And so, oh, there's a deal of the day. Stefan Marbury. All right, anyways, yeah. So, five Sapphire players all here, and the buy all, I believe that discount is only, we have only with VC, which is whatever. So, I already shared my piece on it. I'm still standing like status quo with what I shared yesterday with my thoughts, but we've not heard Harry's thoughts on the Pyramid of Power, the buy-in, and everything like that. So, Harry, the floor is yours. What are your thoughts on the Pyramid of Power structure?
I will say to begin, it feels good that this will be a more positive centric podcast because the last podcast I ended it just so negative, shitting on 2K, upset over the player market and all the stuff. So it feels good to kind of be more positive and happy about the new content because I really love it. And I don't know yet if I'm in the minority or the majority because it seems like a lot of people are complaining and they're upset that they have to spend 100K empty, even though I think that's ridiculous because you're spending 100K to get a diamond, a couple amethysts, a bunch of rubies, some sapphires. You're getting a lot. I mean, the fact that the current prices in the market, you're spending 140K for an amethyst. Now you're spending 100K and you're getting all that. And that's not even including that you can sell back those sapphires that you bought for around 100K. You can sell it for I think 40K in total. So you are getting empty back. And I think my perspective is I can definitely see the side where they're like, oh, like this content has to be free. It's unfair that people have to spend MT. But listen, in my opinion, I like it to be a little bit harder. I don't want everyone to have the same card. Like for instance, like Chris Bosch. Yes, you can argue, and I agree, it probably should have been a bit easier. But I do like that it's going to be a small amount of people that are going to have that Bosch to begin with. I think a lot of people are going to have this Diamond Wade, but I like that not anyone can just boot up a My Team, no experience, no grinding, and just get that Wade. And I think that 100K, especially in this year's game where you can make MT so easily and frequently, I think that's a good point to where I think even if you play the bare minimum of My Team, you play maybe an hour every couple days or whatever it is, you'll have 100K. So it's your choice if you want to make the investment. So I think that's good. I think the MT is at a good pace. I think that the players you get are very good. I mean, I'm excited for that Kevin Love even. I think he'll be a good backup power forward role. The Wade is completely up my alley. The badges are great. He has good dribbling badges. He can shoot, he can drive, he can do it all. So I'm really excited for him. I like that they didn't cap him off as shooting guard. He can play point guard too, which I think will be helpful. And then, so far I'm in the amethyst agendas. I've completed the sapphire and rubies. And I really like that they're all very easy. I think you can really get the entire thing done in a couple hours, which is great because I know in the past 2K has struggled by giving you such great content, but by giving you so many things you have to do and so many tedious and boring tasks and agendas that you have to do. I think that this is great. Yes, you have to spend 100K, but it's a fairly easy grind. You can pick up a lot of players, and how can anyone complain about having to spend 60K on an amazing diamond that's going to be a top 5 player in the game, getting
Yep.
some really good rubies, some sapphires if that's what your team may need for those who are early on in the grind. So yeah, overall, I think this is a good thing, and I think to end it, yeah, I know this is a long-winded rant.
No, it's
I
okay.
said to Jen early in the day, I said this is probably the most content they've ever given us in a season. Between this, the Draymond grind that they allowed us to get, there's been some other stuff too that they've allowed us to just do from playing the game. So I think this is great. Oh, the Dunktober stuff that allowed you to get one of the best card amethysts in the game. I got an amethyst John Morant. Jan got the Amethyst Demar. These are some of the best cards in the game right now. So I'm really impressed with 2K, and I really hope that they keep this up. Not only going into season 2, but hopefully we get more closing in on season 1.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking at some of the ratings for these sapphires, and maybe this is just me being like a low money spent, very casual player of my team. Some of these cards are actually really good. Like
Yeah.
usable for offline play kind of cards. Like Tom Chambers, I feel like we don't have enough stretch fours that are really viable for offline play at least. And having an 86 Tom Chambers I think could be really good. That Tony Parker looks incredible. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
for a sapphire, like he's competing with like some of like the rubies that I have that I really like on my team. Now Harry, let's say you're someone like me who just got on my team for the first time today, or maybe it's the day after Pyramid of Power comes out, and they want to go out and they want to start grinding these challenges. I remember you telling me earlier that triple threat offline is not going to be the move. Which game mode in particular do you think, or which challenge in particular do you think will be best used, or would be the most useful in terms of spending time grinding out these sapphire agendas?
Yeah, a couple things. One, it's funny because like you said, I was watching people like sweat their life away on like superstar difficulty, triple threat offline, and I'm like, this is not the way to go. That seems too hard. You only get 3 players on the court. I think my method allows you to use all the players you need in your lineup and, be able to get better results in a faster amount of time. So I would recommend going into the skills challenges in the offline single player MyTeam mode. You can they have super easy skill challenges you can do, whether free throw, 3-pointer, post scoring. I recommend doing post scoring because you can because it's hard to kind of play the entire agendas without shooting a 3 or without getting a block or a steal like any of the other things. Posting you can at least control. You don't have to really go into the post unless you need to for some of the players. So I recommend doing that. You're able to get all your players in there. You're on pro difficulty, so everything you're trying to do is on a much easier basis. I think that's the best way to go. And I also think another important thing to keep in mind is some of the, at least for the Sapphire, Rubies, and I believe Amethyst too, you need to get wins with those cards.
Mm-hmm.
I see a lot of people just playing domination games and playing full games to get those earnings, but that's not the way. Another easy kind of exploit, I would call it an exploit because it's pretty easy. All you have to do is go into the free throw skills challenge. They put you in a game with like 30 seconds left in the game. All you have to do is hit your free throws pretty much to just secure the win. As long as you do that and get that win done in like, probably like 30 seconds, that'll count for that win. So you can get those 3 wins done in like a couple minutes. So if you're doing this, so pretty much if you're using the skills challenges for the post scoring and for the easy wins, I mean, yeah, you can easily get these done in like a couple hours, as opposed to doing it maybe on a harder difficulty on like a triple threat or actually playing full domination games, which could take hours. So I think I can't think of a better way to go about it. So I would recommend that for anyone getting on my team now, not really knowing how to get the best results from these agendas.
Yeah, I mean, as you can see here on my screen, I have not played any of these. So maybe I should go ahead and do these. But yeah, I mean, they all look like 4-minute quarters for the most part, except for the free throw one. And yeah, I mean, the post scoring is really easy to do, I mean, so you could just do this at the very end, which is what I think you're saying, and focus on all the other objectives while you're doing it. I mean, I don't know if I'd be able to get all of them done in one. I could probably try to, given that it's pro difficulty, but
it's very hard to do that. I'll even admit that. And the other thing is you don't have to get those. Like if you still have more to go, you don't have to finish all those post scoring. You can just let the game end and you still get the win for that. So I would just recommend doing that. Like get those post scoring stuff if you're like halfway in the game and you're done. But yeah, that's you don't have to really focus on it if you still have a lot to do in your agendas.
Yeah, like I mean, like some of these, like the Capella 7 rebounds and 2 dunks, you can easily do that in a triple threat offline game if you want to, because
Yep,
that's
yep.
just a 21. Same thing with like the Tom Chambers if you want to go that route, and then like the Mo Peterson having to score 30 points, you obviously cannot do that in a triple threat offline game. You could do that in one of the 40-point challenges, but why would you do that? You can just run a play and get them open for three and do that a few times. Like I think there's a way where you can get the Parker assistant layups, the Joe Harris 3-pointers and 3-point percentage, and the Mo Peterson points all in one of those games, and then you can do
Yep,
these.
definitely.
I mean, the other option that I would give that I don't think is too bad is, and I mean, you lose 1 minute per quarter if you do this option, but the pickup challenge, which you get every single day, that's on semi-pro, so the difficulty's a little bit harder, but it's a quicker game. If you want to bang that out, you could do that too in case you want to like have a shot at getting maybe a decent reward from the door. But that's not too bad. And then the other agendas I don't think are too crazy. I think the biggest thing that I saw of note is that I don't think any of the agendas require online play, which I'm personally pretty shocked about. Maybe that's 2K's way of compensating for the fact that there's that 105K buy-in for the Sapphires, which we found out that you can quick sell, right? I think.
But yeah, you can quick sell them. So you can at least make 60K back, or is it 40K back? Yeah. So you can make 40K back, so you're pretty much spending 60K to get all those cards, which I think it makes it even better. I think 2K could have easily went the route of making it a set where you have to lock in all those cards to get the weight, which I think I would have understood, leaving a little sour taste in your mouth. But yeah, I give props to 2K for allowing you to make at least a little bit empty back by selling these cards. And I didn't do this myself. I probably should have. But if you want to even go out of your way to make more MT, I would probably grade all of those cards so you can even make a little bit more. So there's definitely ways to make more MT back from what you have to spend to do these agendas.
Yeah, definitely. Trying to see, do I even want to bother grading any of these cards? Maybe I'll do one. I've not graded a card yet.
Really? Wow. I try to grade at least most of my cards before I sell them.
Yeah, I mean, we can take a look. I forget how much the Sapphires cost to grade. No, maybe I won't do it now because I don't want to take the players out of my lineup. I just constructed a lineup of all Sapphires. But I totally agree with Harry. I think you really don't see a marketable increase in the price until you get a 9.0 grade or higher. But you still
Yep.
get, I think, an increase at 8, and I think at 7 you actually lose MT when you quick sell it.
Yeah,
So
but I think what does help is you can actually grade cards, I think like 3 times. So if you don't get that 9, you have a better chance. Because I think it's all randomized. You can kind of
it
just
is.
keep doing
It
it until
is.
you get a grade that you prefer.
Definitely. Definitely. In terms of agendas, I think we covered everything in that department. Why don't we move on ahead to the player items themselves? I don't think we covered the Sapphires very briefly on screen when I was going through it while you were talking. I don't think the rubies are all that interesting to me personally. I mean, I'm sure some of them on like a budgety team like mine may have some use, at least maybe if you were to run like an unlimited type of lineup with 13 players and you have a bench. But I don't think we want to really talk about that. I mean, especially for the people that are playing this game a lot more. Let's talk about the players that do matter, and maybe even these first two don't matter, but let's just talk about it. The Kevin Love, early this morning when they revealed the ratings, one of the first things I did was text Harry and show him the 2KDB page for this Amethyst K Love, and I pointed out that you can see here his height is 6'8", so he magically decreased in height by 2 inches. And his speed is a 54, which to me
Well, I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm funny. I'm playing these challenges now. I did not realize my Kevin Love is 6'8". That's insane.
yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah,
That's weird.
Kevin Love is 6'8", which is crazy. And if you look right here, his 74 rated gold card from the NBA current series 1 has 57 speed. So his 74 rated gold has 3 higher speed than a card that is 26 overall points higher than him. I still think this Kevin Love's gonna have a lot of use, but Harry, I'm curious about your thoughts on the Kevin Love and his viability in my team.
Okay, so here's my take on this. I want to defend 2K, but they make it hard because one, being 6'8", Kevin, like that's just like you're not even trying to make it like hard to for the like. It's so obvious. He's not 6'8" in real life. We all know that.
Yeah.
So I don't know why that's the problem. I will defend his speed, but the fact that his gold has higher speed, that just doesn't make sense. It's hard to like make it make sense 2K, but I'm honestly not if in a perfect world, if the gold had maybe either lower speed or the same speed, I don't think it's the biggest problem. And that's only because I think I have such PTSD of 2K giving like demigods out early on in the year that I'm happy that a card like an Amethyst and 90 overall has a weak spot. Like Kevin Love, his shooting is going to be great. So I don't mind him having a weak spot. But again, it doesn't make any sense if his gold card has more speed. I can't find the correlation in that. But so I'm all right with that if only it made a bit more sense. But other than that, the shooting is going to be great. I think I'm honestly excited to have. I kind of needed a bench power forward spot, so he perfectly fits that. So I mean, I love Kevin Love it every year. As Jen knows, I'm a bit of a dribble head on 2K. I like to 5 out, so
Yeah.
you kind of need players that can kind of be at the corner and shoot when you're a power forward or a center. So Kevin Love kind of perfectly gets that. His height is a bit weird, but normally Kevin Love is tall enough to where it's big enough to where rebounding is fairly easy. Normally he has I'd have to look at his stats, but I know normally his post scoring is pretty good. His badges look pretty good. So yeah, I think this is a great card. I think I'm really excited to have him on my team. You know, for at least I can see him being in my lineup for a good point in season 2 at least. So yeah, I'm excited for him.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, this card is definitely very much a Kevin Love card based off the ratings. I mean, his 2 Hall of Fame badges have nothing to do with shooting, it has to do with rebounding, which is what he was known for earlier on in his career with Minnesota and then with Cleveland. And then break starter. I mean, Kevin Love still to this day is throwing touchdown passes. He's the only quarterback that plays in the NBA. He's great for that. He's an excellent shooter with 86 3 ball. His post ratings are all in the 90s, which is great. His passing accuracy being a 64 is a little questionable with the Hall of Fame break starter, but I guess that's fine. My only issue with him is it's really tough because if you want to play him at power forward because he's 6'8", the 54 speed I'm okay with. The 47 lateral quickness, he's going to get sauced. And it's fine.
Yep.
I don't expect Kevin Love to be like an exceptional perimeter defender. I don't expect that at all. Like, he should not be that great. But then with these, athletic stats, you would naturally want to put him at center. And then that's where him being 6'8" does kind of hurt. I still think he does translate to the center position with this current card, attribute layout better than at power forward. And I still have some hope that maybe 2K in the next day or two will increase his height to 6'10". And be like,
but they have to, right? Because how do you defend that?
I don't know if you can. I mean, that it really just makes no sense. I mean, I wonder. Yeah. I don't know if the other Kevin Love is also 6'8", and I just never knew because
I'd be curious about that. Yeah.
Yeah, this one's also 6'8", so Kevin Love is just 6'8" now on my team. I don't know when this happened. But
they might as well make that Ruby Isaiah Thomas 7 feet tall because it doesn't make any sense.
No, come on. Clearly, they need to make Isaiah Thomas 4'9" now. I think that's the only logical.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he has to get smaller.
Then after that, we have the Amethyst Dominique Wilkins, and I want to really quickly before I toss it over to you, Harry. I want to give 2K a lot of props for this. We got the Ruby David Thompson a couple of days ago. Actually, no, yesterday. Today's Wednesday. We got it yesterday. And they gave him a 52 rated 3 ball, which is fine because David Thompson was not known for 3-point shooting. He was known for dunking. And when you think of dunking in the NBA, you actually think of Dominique Wilkins ahead of David Thompson. And Neek wasn't known for shooting 3-pointers. And so I figured, they gave the Ruby David Thompson a 52 3 ball. And then they gave the Amethyst Dunktober DeMar DeRozan a 66 3 ball. So to me, I thought maybe he'll get a 66 at best, line him up with the DeMar DeRozan. They gave this man a 74 3 ball with an 89 mid-range, along with pretty respectable stats across the board in all other departments as well. They gave him Midi Magician as well. Obviously, Hall of Fame posterizer is really nice. Defensively, pretty good badges. Finishing wise, really good badges. Defensively, not that great. He can't get clamps, but honestly, it's fine. This is not going to be a comp level card, but for someone that's just going to be grinding the game, I think Neek is really, really good. I mean, Harry, I know your team is a little better than mine, I would say. Do you see Neek having any role on your team? And if so, or if not, why?
Well, okay, a couple things. One, it's funny because I didn't look at his stats before I texted Jan about this card earlier in the day because I figured there's no way he has even a 73. So
Yeah.
I texted Jan and I said, to be funny, I was like, you will probably be in the minority of people who love this card just because of his playstyle. He's not like me that likes to 5 out and cheese dribble moves and stuff like that. But when I
Yep.
saw his card, I was like, this card is actually really fun. Like he looks fun. 74-3 is just uncalled for. I feel like for a Dominique Wilkins.
Yeah.
His
Too
I
early.
went into yeah, I went into free. I mean, it's not like aggressively high, but it's high enough to where you're like, wow, But I went into freestyle with him. His shot is really nice. Like I think even if it feels like he has like at least an 83 because I had an easy time shooting with him. Um, I think what having De'Aaron Fox and John Morant on this team this year, what it taught me is as much as I like shooting threes on 2K, being able to dunk is just so much fun this year, especially in this year's 2K with dunking being so OP. So the fact that this guy is Hall of Fame posterizer, I'm just excited to try out this card. Do I think he would really fit my lineup? Not really, based on the way I play. But if I when I play Triple Threat online or a Clutch Time online or a game like that, I can definitely see myself pulling that card out of my tool belt just because he looks like I said, he looks like a fun card. So yeah, I'm happy with him. I think that the badges are really nice. His stats are pretty good. So yeah, even though he might not make my lineup, my 13-man lineup, I can see him definitely making like a Triple Threat lineup or just a card I might want to use every now and then.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's very, very well said. And to that point, I think a card that I think will be making everyone's lineup because the only reason we're grinding this is for the top tier diamond, and that is 92 overall Dwyane Wade. Harry, I think we're both very excited for this card for two totally different reasons. I think if I had to guess, yours is going to be more on the offensive side of the ball. Me, I think this card, if you take a look at him defensively, I think he's the best defensive point guard in the game, and I don't even think it's remotely close. The fact that this card is a grindable card where I'd be okay with spending the 100K that I'm spending on the Sapphires to go and grind for this card. The fact that we're able to quick sell and basically make it a 60K investment, and then that's not going to include the empty that you get from grinding out these agendas. This card looks special. He looks so damn good. They gave him a 76 three ball, which I thought was honestly a little high for this card. I was fully expecting like a low 60s three ball for Dominique and a 70 rated three ball for Dwyane Wade. So a 76 is just incredible. Harry, what are your thoughts on this card? I mean, he looks so damn good.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the coffin. This card is so good and so amazing. You wouldn't hesitate to spend the 100K on him. And I mean, I think I texted you. I made the point where if we woke up one day and we saw deal of the day, Diamond Wade for 100K or even 60K, if you want to look at it like that, because you're making your MT back, you would do it in a second. Because
Yeah.
I imagine diamonds will go for 200, 300K. This is an incredible deal. The card is incredible. He can shoot. The dribbling, I assume, will be great. Shooting, he has a 76-3. I'm probably going to put a 3-point shoe on him to make it an 80, which is even better. This card is literally, if there was a card that's meant for me, it would be this guy because he has gold speed booster, gold handle for days, gold, um, did I say speed? A blow by. The three best badges for pretty much for me when it comes to dribbling. So I cannot wait to use this card. And defensive, I definitely have not been giving him his flowers when it comes to defense because I'm so obsessed with how good he is on offense. But yeah, his defense is great. I mentioned it earlier, but I really like that because I know, like for instance, like Luca, or was it not Luca? Victor Oladipo,
Yeah.
2K at first capped him at shooting guard, and then they decided, well, we'll make him point guard. I'm so happy that they did not cap Wade at shooting guard. I don't think it's the worst idea to run him as shooting guard, but I mean, for me, having him at point guard is like Christmas or Hanukkah. Listen, I'm Jewish. I'll bring in the Jewish religion into it. So yeah, no, I cannot wait for this card. I think I just can't wait to use him. I think that it's a top 5 card in the game. I don't think you can argue that. So I think the fact that I complained so much in the last video that 2K has been giving out their best cards in lock sets.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a really good positive step in the right direction that you can get an amazing card in the game just for playing the game for maybe 2 hours, 2.5 hours, or very little time to get this card. So I think this card will be great. Even I would even bet the entire length of season 2, maybe season 3. So yeah, wonderful job for 2K. I'm glad that I think you even said today you were like, after hitting level 40, you didn't have the biggest motivation to get on and grind my team because it's
Yeah.
such a taxing grind on you. But the fact that this immediately made you want to get on tonight at launch and grind for this weight, I think it's props to 2K that they're giving people a reason to play the game, and I think it's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's one thing if the 2K developers think that just, them putting a daily login is enough to get their consumers to want to get in every day. I think it's another thing for them to actually give us content that's worth grinding. And I mean, again,
Yeah.
like Harry said, like I said, in today's video and in yesterday's video, obviously the 100K buy-in is not ideal. But I think, to Harry's point, if you've been playing this game, even on a casual level, I mean, I have 382K MT, and that's after spending the 105K MT on the Dwyane Wade. And I probably would have had more if I played the game more, but I'm playing the game relatively casually, I would say. I think if you play this game once a day for like an hour a day, or you just play it on the weekend for a few hours, I think you can easily have 100K MT by this point in my team if you've been responsible with your MT. Responsible meaning like you're not trying to get all the top end cards the day that they drop, and then you're wondering why you don't have as much MT because you're trying to sell everything back and you're losing 60% of their value upon the initial investment. This card is really good. Speaking of Dwyane Wade, the investment is really not that high. Like the price point, the point of entry is not that expensive for what you're getting. And then again, you can always quick sell the sapphires and you'll only be losing 60K to get to go and grind for this card. So I think this is great. We need more of this. And again, I want to just I don't want to bury the lead here, at least my lead from yesterday's video, which is like, yeah, the Wade is great, the boss is great. I'm so confident that we're getting a Diamond Miami Heat LeBron James next Friday. I just feel it in my bones. Season 2, what way can 2K or what thing can 2K put into the game to extrapolate money from the pockets of people that love to spend money on this game? Dropping a LeBron James card in packs to start season 2. That's all I have. Harry, any closing thoughts from you?
Yeah, before I end it, I want to ask you one thing because you mentioned something earlier, and this is something we might disagree on for a quick little discussion.
Sure.
I know you said that the 100K is not ideal. I think it's perfect, and this is where we might disagree because similar to what I said about Bosch, I don't want it to be you win 5 games in a row of triple threat and you get a Bosch. I don't want everyone to have the card.
Sure.
I don't want everyone to have this weight. I think it's fair that you spend a little bit of MT just from playing the game at, like we said, a bare minimum to get the card. Do you agree? Do you think maybe the 100K should be lower? Do you think that there should be no MT cost at all? Do you think we all should be able to log in and play it and get it? What's your take on that?
So my take on it is the way that 2K did it is one of 2 ways that you can go about it. And now that I've had a little bit of time to think about it, I think for the price point being 100K, keeping all the agendas offline makes it worth it. Because in a way, you're almost paying for the sapphires to grind for agendas that don't require any online play. I kind of like what they did with the Dunktober Equal Chance Pack related agendas, where at the end of it, while they gave you an option of like unlimited or domination, there was one objective that had you playing salary cap until you had 3 wins, no matter what. And I know there was a glitch. I actually just read about this earlier today. There was a glitch on Friday where winning in any game mode, including I think offline, or if it was any online game mode, that meant you could have played TTO, and any win would have given you a salary cap win for whatever reason in your agendas. So people were getting the Dunktober Amethyst really easy on Friday. But for people like myself, I had to actually play salary cap, and I actually enjoyed it. And so I think if you're not going to, like, to answer your question, Harry, I think this is great. It is. I think another option or an alternative to what they did today was, or what they could have done, I mean, is they could have had the salary or the Sapphire players be grindable from agendas, but then make the last few agendas, like maybe with the Amethyst players, make it where you have to do, you need to get X amount of 3-pointers or X amount of dunks with Kevin Love and Dominic Wilkins respectively in online play. And then you can mix it up where like maybe you need, I don't know, you need like, 5 threes with Kevin Love or 10 threes or whatever, or maybe make like a double-double with Kevin Love online to make it really annoying. And then you can make it dunks with Dominique. We had 20 multiplayer dunks in the previous set of agendas that we had for Dunktober, which go through this Friday. I think they're both really fair. I think either making it where it's a skill gap, where it's okay, you have to do these things online to get Dwyane Wade, or to Harry's point, you make it where you have to have been playing the game at least a somewhat respectable amount, because we've hit roughly what, a month almost since the game has come out. So if you didn't have 100k after a month, that means you're either not playing the game very much or you're just very irresponsible with your MT. So I think both routes make a lot of sense. I like what 2K did here. I think if they made it a 100k buy now and then they also included really difficult online agendas, I think I would be a little more sour on this, but I'm totally cool with this. So we actually do agree. I think this is great. I'm just saying that there is another way that they could have gone about it, which is including more difficult agendas, but have the Sapphire players be basically grindable. So
No, yeah, I agree. I'm glad to hear that. I was just wondering because I didn't know if I was in the minority today. I mean, looking on Twitter, it seems like spending 100k is like the equivalence of having to, fight your entire family to death, and don't go to their funeral. It's like, all right. So I'm glad that we at least agree that I don't think it's the worst thing for 2K to have spend a little bit of MT to do these amazing agendas to get these great cards.
yeah, and if anything, let this be a lesson to you. If you're out there and you're playing MyTeam and you don't have enough MT for this, and you've been playing a lot, but you've been buying a lot of players, let this be a lesson to you that maybe be better at budgeting your MT. Like, don't just go and buy every shiny new toy when it drops in the player market on Friday. Maybe save some MT, because 2K did tease this, I think, last week. So you knew something was coming. Now, there was no clear evidence that you would need to save up 100k MT for this, but let this be the lesson that going forward, maybe save some pocket change. Not that 100k MT is pocket change, but if you don't have that much, maybe try to have that much going forward here and there, because you never know when you're going to need it. Now maybe you're not going to be able to get that Dwyane Wade card until like this weekend or maybe next week, because you're really low on MT because you just bought the Ja Morant that came out last week, and you spent 140k on that. So just try. I'm not saying be frugal with your MT like Harry and I are, but maybe don't blow all your MT at once, because you're going to be very, very late to the party when they drop something grindable like this. With that said, Harry, I appreciate you, man. Shout out to you for being like, hey, we should do more shorter form content. Of course, this is probably going to end up being like 20 or 30 minutes, but hey, we had a lot to talk about. This is a very interesting topic. Pyramid of Power. I guess last thing before we wrap this up, what letter grade would you give Pyramid of Power with its current structure, Harry?
You know what? I'm gonna be very optimistic. I'm giving it an A.
Wow.
I'm impressed. I think they hit the nail on all the coffins. I think from the agendas being fairly easy, you can get them done it's not like you have to spend hours and hours and hours. I like that you can get it all done in one day. It's not like, oh, you have to do this Sapphires one day and Ruby one day. I like that if you want to get it done in one day, you have the time, you can. I think the cards are amazing. I think, like you said, even going from a Sapphire even to a Tony Parker, I think is a fun card. So I think all the cards are pretty good. I don't think spending 100k and getting back 40k is the worst thing. I think it's actually a great idea. So yeah, I'm giving it an A. I'm very happy, and I think, like I said, I really hope that 2K continues to do more stuff like this, because these are the things that can make or break a MyTeam mode, in the sense of letting people not letting people, but giving people excitement all year round.
Definitely. I would give it an A- only because I feel like if I were to give 2K an A, then they would just stop trying.
Right.
The main reason why I'm gonna give it an A- is because like the Wade is really good. The Neek, like to Harry's point, not for everyone. I don't know how viable he's gonna be in online play. We'll have to see. The Kevin Love being 6'8" is pretty upsetting to me. Like, I guess I didn't know that his gold was also 6'8", but the height being that short for a Kevin Love card is pretty upsetting. I'm totally fine with the Sapphires being, you have to, buy to get into the Pyramid of Power, basically. I'm totally okay with that. And the main thing that I really like about this, besides everything that we covered today, is unlike previous grinds, like with Fast Break, where you had only a week and it was time sensitive, this, I believe, falls into the lifetime agendas, which means you have until the end of the game cycle to grind for this Dwyane Wade card. So there's no pressure of you having to complete this by next week. So if you're on vacation or if you're unable to get to your console, until next week, you didn't have to panic thinking like, oh my god, season 2 is dropping in 48 hours. I have 48 hours to grind, and you could still get this done, to Harry's point, in 48 hours pretty easily. But if for whatever reason you can't get it done by season 2, you don't have to sweat it, which I think that is great. I don't know if that's from 2K listening to the community or this was just pre-planned, but we need more of this. More grindable content that isn't crazy with its time, or its duration, or time sensitivity. This is great. I give it an A- only because I always think 2K can do better. And I hope that they continue to grow on things like the Gauntlet and the Pyramid of Power, and I hope that we get to see more of these things going forward in future seasons of my team. So yeah, I think that's all Harry and I got. Thank you guys for listening. Harry, once again, thank you for joining, and we'll hopefully do more of this kind of content for you guys going forward. So until next time, peace.